All right, so go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you do in the band.
I'm John, I play bass.
I'm Zach, I play guitar.
I'm Ruth, I sing.
Blair, drums.
All right. So I've heard people describe your music, a little bit of rock, a little bit of blues, a little bit of surfer punk. How would you guys describe it, each of you?
I say that it's garagey and kind of dark.
Yeah, I just call it surf goth.
Okay.
That's like the term that we use because it's kind of funny. So,
Or death surf.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go surf goth too. It's pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Wind up.
And what artists influence your guys' style?
Well, for me, when we started, it was kind of, I was really into the staple singers. So I kind of wanted that really echoey, tremolo, like reverb guitar. So, and I wanted to have a girl singer. So that's kind of how it started. Now it's kind of gone off to more of like, I don't know, I'm really kind of into Joy Division and New Order and stuff like that, but it's just really, I always say what makes the songs different is because they're really bad versions of those songs. So,
You never said it to me.
yeah, I don't say it to you because I'm really bad. But that's kind of how I like to do it. I think it's minimal, the guitar parts, so I don't know, my influences are kind of, I just love like the Consolers, like old gospel where it was just like really minimal guitar with really vibrant singer, so.
All right. How did you guys meet, and what drove you guys to start this band?
Zach and I actually met working together at a restaurant in the city. And we first started playing together just as like a two-piece, just as friends, like in my apartment on Michigan Avenue. And that was the first time we had played together. The band had kind of existed beforehand with a different lineup for a little bit of time. And I came into that lineup, like working with Zach. And then we kind of just all met each other and it kind of just worked out for the better, I think.
Yeah, this band is, from when it started, is completely different than it is now. So I actually had a different singer. Oddly enough, when I first started the group, I met Ruth, and she was like the first person I had in mind. And she came over and we did like a Strange Boys cover and some like other stuff. And after she left, I was really excited, but the problem was that she was new to it, so like my mind was trying to move so fast, because to be honest, I felt like old for some reason. Like I felt like I was running out of time, so I needed to like find people who were, trying to speed this thing up, like where it was just foolish. So I had a completely different band, and then it kind of just didn't work out the way I wanted it to. So I asked Ruth to come back, and now everything's kind of been happening organically in the way it's supposed to be, and giving it time and patience. And I don't even know how I remember you at Lager House.
Yeah, I used to work at the Lager House, so I met a lot of people through that, because I only lived here for like 2 years, and the three of them had been playing for a while, and Zach asked me if I wanted to play, and I turned him down, because I said I wanted to start my own band, and that didn't work. I failed at that, so then I wasn't about to stoop so low as to ask if I could play again, but they started running out of options, so they asked me again, and I was like, thank God they asked me again. So, and then it's, because I was like the third bassist?
Yeah, we were like the Wu-Tang Clan with our members for a while.
Yeah. But I joined last August, and it's stuck ever since then.
Yeah. It's a good little crew now.
And it took a month for them not to think that I wasn't going to be there, like, second. So.
What do you mean?
Well, it was first when I came in not as a member. I came in as like the new guy that's playing bass.
We had to beat you in the game.
I wonder, like,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
gonna be in another month? So that took a little bit, but once that got over it,
Because it was like
It's been
so
great.
many people just like going in and out, and it's for different reasons. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons why there's people didn't stay. Some of them were like, oh, this kid's 19. He probably is not going to want to stay around very much longer. Not Snoopy, but the guy before him. Stuff like that, whatever reasons. But it was just like the I wanted to keep moving, so I was just like, let's keep going, let's grab this guy, alright, he'll work, alright, no he won't work, and then he'll like, so
Yeah.
now we found him. Found this special guy.
How did you guys, what's the story behind your guys' name?
I was, I'm Mexican, so, and I live around the city, so I always carry a switchblade around. And I went to go visit my mom in Waterford. She lives in Waterford, and when it got really late, you're probably watching Forrest Gump or something, and I was like, got tired. And then I decided to like sleep on the couch, and I was like taking all my shit out of the pockets, and I took out like my knife and put it down. She's like, you carry a knife around? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I guess you are Mexican. And then like I didn't know there's like some like stereotype that all Mexicans carry around knives, and so I was like, that's a great name, Mexican Knives. So that's how I got it.
That stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. Going back to you, Ruth, how is it being the only girl in the band?
It's alright. I have a couple brothers, and so it's just like it's pretty easy, you know. And we all get along. It's I don't, one of the guys type of thing, but like they don't walk around in eggshells around me or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's fine. It's fun.
Cool.
My favorite story though is she like we played that show with the Fresh and Oldies, and she was there, and she was like, we went and did like 3 or 4 shows, and she's like, if I have to listen to one more fucking Adam Sandler quote.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, it's like a whole entire ride to and from New York was just like every Adam Sandler quote ever. And I was like, and then they would stop and they'd be like, oh sorry, wait, listen, it'd stop, and then like it would start right back over.
Because the thing was,
The other girl was
remember,
just like, I know.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a thing.
we'd like, remember that Ruth? You're like, I'm a girl. I don't remember movie quotes. I was like, that's right. You don't. That's fair.
When making your guys' music, what's the process? Do you all write? Does one person write?
I usually come up with everything, and then it's all to play it the correct way about 10 or 12,000 times.
It can be really easy, or it can be really difficult.
Oh,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just clicks, and then other times it takes us a really long time to get a song like complete to where everybody's happy with it. But the good thing about it is that it works both ways. So like we have one song that it took us forever to get it fucking done, and everybody hated it for a while except for Zach, that who just would slam it down our throats every single practice. But then one day, like after a month, it just clicked, and then it was like so refreshing. So it's really refreshing when it just works, but then it's also really refreshing when you hate a song for so much, and then when it clicks, it's like hearing it for the first time.
Was it Beach Song?
That was Beach Song, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh, man.
fucking hated that song
Yeah.
so
Everybody
much.
hated that
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Until like maybe a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
That's when I started
But then
liking
one
it.
day it clicked, and now I love that song. So
It is.
Yeah. And a
That's
lot of
a
times
staple.
we'll like get together and like Zach will come up with like something, and then we'll get together and he'll just like play and I'll sing and we'll work it out, and then we'll bring in a player, and then he'll, throw something down, or we'll just like be at practice and start messing around and like play something. Like a few of our songs just came out of thin air, and it was awesome. Like we're just like, whoa, that was, and
a lot of it happens organically.
Yeah.
Like someone comes up with one idea, it might be Ruth with like a vocal line, and somebody gets an idea off of that. It might like inspire like a drum beat or something, and just build off of it. But I mean, for the most part, I think it's a pretty collaborative way. I don't think there's one way we write any song, or like a method we have for writing songs. Just basically just sitting in the basement and playing, a lot together.
I mean, we definitely have a formula now, more so though, like which I think works. In the sense of like working on the beginning of a song. Like
yeah.
if I have a song that we've created or I've worked on, it's like important that Ruth and I get together, and then followed up with me, Ruth, and Blair, and then followed up with all of us together. Because before, I've always wanted to be like a bro down, just be like, check out the song, let's just figure it out, guys.
And we're like, no,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
And it's just like everyone hates each other. So
Yeah.
now it's like that's like unless there's a song completed from beginning to end and we can all go down, it has to be that way. And we've tried it so many different ways, and been like, it's just me and Blair, and then me and this, but it's like literally it's show Ruth the song, me and her work on it, then show Blair the song, and then him works on it, and then show Snoozy the song, and then we all work on it together. Because then the vision kind of goes as like a collaborative instead of just like throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
So, on your Nightmare, and then, can you explain the name? It's Nightmare Down to Hell. Is it together?
There are two different songs.
Okay.
That kind of like, well, when we ended up recording them for the first time at Chris Colte's studio, they got stuck on the same track.
Okay.
So they kind of just put them on as like a split single, and then we just kept them together because they sounded really good.
Okay, that's my question. I was on SoundCloud and I was listening to it. So yeah, and the lyrics are interesting. Can you guys kind of talk about what inspires your lyrics and songwriting?
Well, some of them at first, Zach would write a lot of them, and then I started writing some of them, and then we would like collaborate on them. Like he would write a part of a song, and then I would write the other part, and then we'd like finish it. And then some of them I just have been writing.
There's that part in like that movie Finding Forrester where that young kid is like learning how to write and he just gives him a sentence from one of the stories. I'm Sean Connery.
Oh my god.
So occasionally, like, I give her the sentence.
Sometimes, but a couple. I mean, I've done a few. You've given me some fish, and I've learned how to fish.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, so you guys play in different cities like Brooklyn, Chicago. What is the scene? How does the scene compare to that of Detroit? And do people kind of ask you about the scene in Detroit?
When we played in Chicago, Blair and I had a great experience where we played. I can't remember what the band was called that played before us, but
The Mingers, right?
White Caps.
either or. I don't know, but I thought they were pretty cool. I know Blair thought they were pretty
Sways.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we're talking to him, and one of the guys in the band, it was like he was talking to his high school crush, because he was like, I can't believe you guys are from Detroit. And we were like, yeah, like you guys should come play Detroit. And he got like flushed, and it was like, oh my god, I'd love to do that. And you find that sometimes people are really curious about like, who the fuck would live in that town? What kind of music would it be like? And I definitely know that. I mean, I moved here because of that, because everything else seemed kind of weak. And that's what it seems like in other music like scenes in other cities. It's cool. There are some great bands, but I don't think you really can compare anything to a Detroit band. And a lot of them ask about it. They have tons of questions about what it's like to live in Detroit and shit like that.
I don't know, Brooklyn's, from when we played in New York, it's, I don't know, I love New York, it's inspiring, but I take that inspiration back here.
Yeah.
You know, and back into the city, I feel like there's much more in the way of possibilities here. So they might talk to us about it. I don't know. I think there's like such this weird attractiveness to Detroit now, because people are like, oh, I'll tell people I live in Southwest, and I have this basement and a 3-bedroom 2-story house or 2-story row house, and I pay like $650, and people are just like, are you serious? It's like incredible to them.
Saying you're from Detroit when you're in a band is a big favor. It definitely makes people kind of listen up a little bit.
Yeah, especially
cool.
now. There's like
Yeah.
so many great bands coming out right now, like Jamaican Queens and just Ritual Howls, and there's just so many. It's good to be around here now in the city. I feel like there's like a second wind. I feel like there was like the rock scene, and then like the remnants of that rock scene after the White Stripes, who were like still kind of being that. Now there's like, bands like us, and we're so completely different than some of the other bands, but we're all just very inclusive, so it's nice.
What's each of your favorite albums or artists from a different genre that you guys? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a good question.
That's the thinker.
Take
Maybe-
that one first, John.
Yeah, I don't listen to too much new music really. I go back to a lot of stuff that I listen to all the time. So right now, I've been going back over like Dead Boys and Giant Thunders, but that's kind of the same music. I don't know, Graham Parsons. I always listen to Graham Parsons, so I listen to a lot of country.
Al Green, Let's Stay Together is like perfect, and well, and then I guess if you want to say the same, well, it's not the same genre, but Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses is like perfect from the beginning, the first note to the last drop.
I listened to the new Adam Green record a lot lately, kind of like guilty pleasure. Growing up listening to Moldy Peaches and stuff like that, so just kind of seeing his career kind of go in a different way. It's kind of cool. I like that record a lot. It's a newer record, so.
I listen to the Liars. They're like, as far as like a newer band, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. They're just incredible. I've liked them for so long, and they always keep me interested. I like Grizzly Bear a lot too. I think they're a great band. Tysical, the OCs, all those kind of groups. As far as new bands.
All right, so being a band from Detroit, you guys have played at different venues and been different places. What are some of your favorite places to play at, and what are some of your favorite places to just hang out around the city?
I personally like playing at like smaller venues, or like we've played a couple house parties. It's just like really fun because there's so much energy, you know, involved, and it's just like a lot of fun, and there's no pressure, and that's always a lot of fun. And then to hang out, personally, I like just, you know, hang out in the woods or the beach or stuff like that.
I love the record stores. There's like the two record stores that are the bigger record stores in the city. Like People's has like Johnny O, who's in Johnny O Band, and Brad Hales, who owns this place, and he's in Human Eye. Both of those dudes rule, and it's like good to go in and talk with them and like just look at records, and then you can go there and go to Hello, and like Wade, who was like in Druid Perfume, and Kevin Boyer, who's in Tyvek, and Damon, who's in like Puffy Areolas. Yeah, and then
He was in Tyvek.
yeah, he was in Tyvek too. It's like Jay Daniels used to work there for a little while. He's like a big time DJ around here, and it's just like fun to go in there and just like hang out for like hours. Yeah, and just listen. They show me like music. You know, Wade is just such an asshole about like me going in and be like, "Have you heard this?" Because he knows like I'll just drop the money. But so it's like super fun, and just that's where I like to hang out. And whenever I get a free minute, is those two spots.
I'm good for a really bad dive bar anytime.
Yeah, I hang out at bars.
What's your favorite bar in the city?
My favorite bar in the city is Donovan's. Donovan's pub.
Donovan's.
Yeah. That's like
Right.
Mexican town,
Yeah.
Corktown
Yeah.
border. But I don't really go there anymore. Now I go to Painted Lady because I live like 2 blocks away. So I either go to Painted Lady or Donovan's. But Donovan's is the best.
I'm gonna blow up my favorite bar now. It's Marshall's. Marshall's bar.
Where is
Oh,
that?
I can't say that now.
You can say it.
Nah,
They need more business, probably.
There's like cats in that
It's
bar.
awesome. It's on the east.
It's really
like
stale
East
smelling.
Jefferson, right
Yeah.
on the border of like Rose Point, Detroit.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yep. There's a lady that bartends there that is constantly telling me about how the Animal Protection Agency is clearing out her cats and her dogs out of her own yard, which is always interesting to hear. While she has like 4 animals in her car outside with the windows down, which is weird. That's always a fun place to go, just because it's totally not right. Like, there's something not right about it. But yeah, it's
Is
a
it
fun
up to health code, maybe?
Probably not. I'm sure it's not.
Yeah.
I just like how it was like bars,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm like the.
I didn't say bars.
I
Here in New York, actually, Zach and I spent a little time in the library. We walked around the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
that's-
like going to the library.
Yeah,
I like going to the Hampshire
I like going to the
library.
library. There's good. The Detroit Public Library
Detroit Public
downtown
Library
is
fucking rules.
incredible.
Yeah, that one's really great.
It drives me crazy when people say they never been there before. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It is huge. It is beautiful. There's so many books there. So many DVDs.
Great record selection.
Great
Yeah.
They have vinyl upstairs. It's like, what's your problem? You can get Snoop Dogg's A Dogfather on CD. You can check that out there.
But going back to the plane, what's cool about it is that we don't have like our bar or our venue that we play at. And I've been in bands that do that, and it's a lot of fun. Everybody knows you, everybody gets to know your songs, but you get real stale real fast. So we play everywhere, anywhere, all the time. That's why we go out of town all the time, and it just keeps everything going. So, I mean, we do well in smaller stuff, but we don't have like a favorite place to play.
I love New York.
In Detroit.
Oh, no, Detroit. There.
St. Andrews.
Just want to play St. Andrews.
Andrews was the coolest
Palace.
thing ever.
Really into Kobo. No, I don't. The Lager House, we always end up playing there a lot.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean,
And
that's
Lager
a good
House is great.
standby.
Yeah.
Lager
That's
House is
good.
the best standby.
They have good sound and
Yeah,
sometimes.
they do.
No, yeah, I like the Lager House. All our friends work there, and it's
Yeah.
like they have a burrito.
It's really good.
Just one.
Yeah, they have Mexican Cokes there for me.
They have a really good stage.
So-
It's
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
a
great
comfortable
standby
stage.
place to play.
Yeah.
You can always do a big show there.
Do you have a favorite? I kind of asked this earlier, but do you have a favorite like Detroit producer or an artist from Detroit that you really look up to, or kind of?
As far as like newer groups, I really admire Jamaican Queens, just like Ryan and all those dudes in that band who are like really focused and will like they completely like give everything to the music right now, you know, and they're just incredibly supportive and they're getting kind of a lot of buzz and they're just and they don't and it doesn't get to their heads and they're you know so I talk a lot with them and I think they're just great guys and I think they're a great band.
We're good friends with Feelings. Good
Growing
friends.
Pains.
Yeah, Growing Pains.
Play with them a lot. they're
Play
good.
with them a lot.
Chris Colte, who is producer, who
Yeah.
has recorded everything that we've recorded.
That's what we always go
We
to.
love Chris.
Yeah, Chris is like the guy.
And
And
he's great guacamole too.
Oh my, and omelets or whatever. He's got like your donuts. He's got a cup of tea.
yeah, he's like one of
Man.
those. Yeah, there's like you get the experience when you go into the studio with him. When we get along with him really well, or at least him and I, because I think all my relationships since my best friends are my brothers are based on like fights. So like if I get into a fight with you, like we become tighter and like I've gotten to like yeah, you got
Sure.
all this.